In this video, I'm going to take a look at the most common math mistakes that I see every day while tutoring and teaching students. So let's take a look at this first example. It says simplify 2 times 5x over 7. And what a lot of students that I teach do is they would write something like equals, so they would take the 2 and they would multiply it by the 5x to give them 10x. And then what they do is they take the 2 and then they multiply it by the 7 to give them 14. Okay, and so the mistake that they did here is that they thought that apart from multiplying the numerator by 2, that they also needed to multiply the denominator by 2, and this is a common mistake. So instead, the 2 should actually be written as 2 over 1 times 5x over 7, and that would give you 10x over 7. Okay, so any number in front, remember that this number is always over 1. Okay, and this is just the numerator. Okay, and so since this is over 1, you multiply the numerator by the numerator and you multiply the denominator by the denominator, and you should get 10x over 7. Okay. Okay, moving on to the next one. It says expand, and in brackets we have x plus 2 to the power of 2. And what I often see is students will write x squared plus 4. Okay, not realizing that this would be a mistake. So what this actually means, so that x plus 2 squared is actually x plus 2 times x plus 2. So in order to expand this, you would have to FOIL, which means that you would have to do x times x. Okay, so you would do that first, and then you would do x times 2, and then you would do 2 times x and 2 times 2. Okay, and so you're multiplying. And so what you would have is you would get x squared plus 2x plus another 2x plus 4. So collecting like terms, that gives us x squared plus 4x plus 4, which is actually a trinomial. Okay. Moving on to example 3. And so this example is fairly similar to example 2. So it says expand 5 times, so in brackets we have 3x plus 5 to the power of 2. What I often see students do is that what they'll first do is they'll take the 5 and they'll multiply it in. So they'll get 15x plus 25, and then all of that to the power of 2. Now this is a mistake once again because this bracket is repeated, so you can't apply the 5 in. So another way of writing this would be 5 times 3x plus 5 times 3x plus 5. And so when we expand, what we can do is we can take the 5 and first distribute it in here, or we could first expand these two, so we can FOIL these two brackets and then multiply everything by 5. And so both approaches will work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the 5 out, and I'm just going to FOIL these two brackets. So I'm going to get 9x squared. And then I'm going to have, so 3x times 5 is 15, and then 5 times 3x is another 15, so that's going to give me 30x. And then 5 times 5 is 25, so plus 25. And then what I'm going to do is now I'm going to distribute the 5 in, which is going to give me 45x squared plus 150x plus 125. Okay. Moving on to the next one. So this one is, so example 4 is fairly rudimentary. What I often notice is that students might make the mistake of actually not changing the sign when they move a number over. So when solving something like this, they'll write x is equal to 5 minus 3, not realizing that what they actually did, what they have to do when isolating for a variable, is that if this 3 is being subtracted from x, in order to get rid of this minus 3 on this side, you would have to add 3 to this side, and since you're adding a 3 to one side, you also have to add the 3 to the other side. Okay, so the 3 gets added to both sides, and in this case, the 3, you could say, is gone because you have minus 3 plus 3. So this is incorrect. So what it should be, it should be x. So x minus 3 plus 3 is equal to 5 plus 3. And that ends up giving us x is equal to 8. So this is a fairly rudimentary mistake that I sometimes see. Okay, looking at example 5, it says simplify. We have this expression here, so a squared times b cubed, and all of that is to the power of 3. What I sometimes see students do is they're so used to adding exponents that in this situation they also end up adding exponents. So they're going to get a to the power of 5 times b to the power of 6. So they end up taking this 2 and adding the 3 to it, and taking this 3 and adding this 3 to it. But this isn't correct. What it actually should be is, it should be a to the power of 6. So they should be multiplying these the exponents. So a to the power of 6 times b to the power of 9. Okay, and this is because this bracket is repeated 3 times. Well, that's what this actually means. So if we write this out, it would look something like this. So a to the power of 2 times b to the power of 3 times a to the power of 2 times b to the power of 3. And then this, so once again. So if you add up the exponents now, so this a has a 2, and you're going to add another 2, and you're going to add another 2, right, to give you a to the 6. And then looking at the b's, right, you're going to add these 3's together, right? So 3 plus 3 plus 3, and that's going to give you 9. Okay? And that's one of the exponent laws, right? The exponent law of that if we have a to the power of m and then to the power of n, that's equal to a to the power of m times n. Okay? It's not equal to, right? It's not going to be equal to a to the power of m plus n. That's only the case when you're doing something like a to the power of m times b to the power of n, that's going to equal a to the power of m plus n. In the next video, I'm going to take a look at more common math mistakes that I notice every day. Thanks for watching this video and see you in the next one.